Oh, goodness.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Business Savvy Makeup Artist, episode 21. I cannot
Can't
believe
believe
that
it.
we're up to 21. This is so cool. Having so much fun with my girlfriend, Leigh Raeder. For those of you who are not familiar with what we're doing here, we interview all different kinds of beauty industry professionals. We try to do it at least once a month. Sometimes we miss a month, sometimes we don't. But we're interviewing all types of beauty professionals from all walks of life. We love to hear business tips from them and learn for ourselves in what they've been doing for their career and how we can relate that back to better ourselves in our careers. So my name is Jacqueline Menconi, and I am in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan, New York. And I am a makeup artist primarily in television, commercial, and other types of production makeup. I also do bridal and I custom blend cosmetics. So Leigh, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Leigh Raeder, and I am in Wisconsin. I have been in the cosmetology industry for a couple decades or so, and I primarily right now mentor others, and I'm a national educator, which is my passion. Still meet with clients and do lessons, but yeah, so thanks for joining us. I can't believe it's our 21st episode. It's just absolutely been a blast. But today I'm really excited because we are interviewing Nicki Hala. And she is absolutely amazing. I've known her for some time now, and I work with her. She's from Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. And she became a makeup artist about 5 years ago when she was on maternity leave with her firstborn. And it was really then when she decided to go for it and try something that she truly loves doing. And today she is a successful hairstylist and makeup artist who specializes in Indian bridal. And you guys have to check her work out because she's absolutely amazing. Her brides are just, they're just absolutely beautiful. While she's also being a stay-at-home mom. So welcome, Nicki. We're so excited to have you. Thanks for joining us. So I am just going to jump right in, and like what I would like you to tell everybody is, like, because I know this about you, you know, what your background is, because you didn't originally go to school for makeup artistry and, you know, bridal makeup. So tell us about like your background and, you know, what you originally went to college for.
Yeah. So growing up, being from, you know, an Indian background, we were always enforced to kind of make education our number one priority in life and, you know, become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or, you know, whatever. And so, yeah, growing up, I wasn't really into hair, wasn't really into makeup. I never was that girl who always dreamed of becoming, you know, a makeup artist or anything like that. I actually, you know, growing up wanted to be a doctor, and that slowly evolved into biomedical engineering. And so I went to school and got my degree in biomedical engineering, but I didn't stop there. I also went and got my master's in biomedical engineering. So I have my bachelor's and my master's in biomedical engineering, and worked doing research for on and off for about 10 years or so after I graduated with my master's. And yeah, it wasn't until I was on maternity leave with my first one. And in that time, I was, you know, playing around with hair and makeup. I did hair a little bit in junior high and high school, and then started doing makeup a little bit in college. And then, yeah, it was when I was on maternity leave is when I kind of decided, hey, why don't I try to, you know, kind of make this like a little side hustle and see what happens. And
yeah,
here
see,
we are today.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. You know, she's just absolutely so smart. She's a smart businesswoman. She's got a lot of drive, and I think that's amazing that she has all that background because she's, you know, I mean, she's just very driven that way. And I've also had the pleasure of meeting her family, which they're all amazing as well. So yeah. So thank you for telling us that, because I know you don't really share that a lot, and it wasn't in your bio, so I had to have you share it.
Yeah.
So what's your question, Jacqueline?
Yeah, so are you trying to tell me that makeup artists and hairstylists usually don't have a degree in biomedical whatever?
Yeah, it's surprising. People are actually shocked when I tell them that.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't believe it. Well, this is, I mean, it's crazy because I feel like people that end up in the makeup industry or in the beauty industry, they don't, maybe makeup artistry specifically, because I think the hair world might be slightly different. But as far as makeup artistry goes, I feel like there's a lot of very diverse beginnings. You know, I don't know. At least I would say the majority of hairstylists that I know, they started off like always knowing they were awesome at hair, and then they like went straight to cosmetology school, and like they're just killing it in in cosmetology land and hairstyling land. Whereas that's not always the case with makeup artists. So that's really unique that you have such a different background than makeup. So with that in mind, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. So you growing up, as you said, in an Indian household, the stress, the focus was on education and was on, a good job after college, I'm assuming, and, making good business decisions, right, in the future. Yep. So with that in mind, with business decisions in mind, I'd love to kind of pick your brain as to how you went from that to actually making the decision. Not just, I know you said that when you were having your first child, you were like, okay, let me see if I can make this a side hustle. But what were the steps that you took to do that? Did you reach out to try and network with people, photographers, brides? How did you gain clientele from being nowhere near the beauty industry prior?
Yeah, so what I did was I really am self-taught makeup artist and hairstylist, and what I did was I made these like super simple business cards. I did like a quick photo shoot with my friends. I had a friend photographer come and help me, and then I just used my friends as models, and we took a bunch of pictures, and I used those for my business cards. And ultimately what I ended up doing is I sent a business card and like a letter to all the venues in the Chicagoland area. I also sent them to wedding planners that I knew. So I did a lot of Googling and, just figured out kind of the venues that people were getting married at and everything. And I decided to go into bridal because I knew that was not only something that I enjoyed doing or thought I would enjoy doing, but I also knew that I could have an easier way of getting into the makeup artist world. So with that, I just, threw my cards out at salons even, and there, kind of one thing led to another. I get one person, and then, especially in the Chicagoland area, like word spreads, so like if you do one wedding, then you're ultimately doing like all the bridesmaids that were there, you do their weddings, and then you do those bridesmaids' weddings, and so my name just ultimately just kept, it wasn't just like a person that I knew, it was now like acquaintances of acquaintances, and there are times where I just actually don't even know how they found me. Oh, and another thing is I did use Yelp. So I created a business Yelp account and put up, all the pictures that I had done on that photo shoot, and then whatever I started to acquire from doing actual weddings, and really kind of pushed having people write reviews for me. And that I still get business to this day from Yelp, which is crazy. I don't pay for advertising or anything like that, but I will still get a few here and there from Yelp.
Wow. So that's pretty great. So you mean to tell me that you actually worked hard to gain new clientele and did everything you could think of.
So
get right at it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, but it's true. I mean, it's go big or go home, right? I mean, if you're either going to make it work or you're not, and there's only one person that can help you, and that's you. So I really commend you for taking those steps, especially, again, I have to keep reminding people that are watching this either live or will eventually be watching this on the replay. Nicki came from a non-beauty industry. She had zero beauty experience, so she had to start from nothing in the industry and really create a name for herself. So the fact that you did that and you're continuing to do that and you're so popular now, you should be very proud. You should be very proud.
I am. Leigh. And I'm definitely, like, you know, every year I just get I'm even more successful, and I'm super thankful, and I definitely, you know, enjoy what I'm doing, and it's been really great.
Awesome. Leigh, do you have your next question ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, like, and I just wanted to touch on, you know, what she said about, like, the referrals, because essentially, you know, she would have the bridesmaids in the chair, and then they would, you know, want to hire her for their wedding. So, you know, everything you do is professional, and I think that people can see that, and they can see your work firsthand. And so that in itself is amazing, because you can't build that if you're not providing that. So that's good. So I guess my next question is, you know, I know it was with the birth of your first child, but I mean, was the decision hard for you, or were you just like, look, I'm just going to do this, or did you start out slow, or did you just like dive in, or how did you come to that decision that you're like, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to hustle and get this going?
Great question.
Okay, so pretty much what happened was, and it was a blessing in disguise, I was working at the same research position that I had gone on maternity leave for, and when at some point within that next year or so, our lab had actually run out of funding, which meant that I was going to be out of a job. And so I actually was not upset about that, because I was miserable there. I don't mind, I like the stimulation of just like academia, but I do not like doing research anymore, and it was just kind of getting to me. So when my boss told me that, you know, we had to shut down the lab, I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sad. But I really was just like, you know, God, thank goodness. And my decision then was kind of like, do I try to make, you know, my bridal business into, you know, a full-time business, or should I try to look for another research job, even though I hated it, but I knew it would give me the income that I needed right away. But I interviewed a couple of jobs, and I was just like, nothing really panned out, and then I just kind of realized, like, you know what, let me just see what I can do with this, and I just went for it, and I'm glad I did. You know, it was social media definitely helps to spread the word for me, and literally, like, every year I've only gotten better, and I've only gotten more popular. So really, it was just my lab running out of funding is what helped me make that decision for me.
Well, that works out. Yeah, that's sometimes you need that extra push, you know.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind everybody who's tuning in live. You know, we have people tuning in live tonight from all over the country. And you guys, for those of you who are tuning in now, if you have any questions for the three of us, please go ahead and type them in throughout the webinar. Okay, we're going to do our best to answer all of them before we you know end later on. So on that note, you touched on a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
One, that you're a mother. Okay, I'll let everybody know that you're a mother of 3. And 2, that you just dove right in. because you kind of, you know, you were at that point where you didn't want another job, right? And your current job was closing. And then 3 was that social media and referrals were helping you. So these are all really amazing things to talk about, and we're going to talk about each one of them. But the one I want to focus on right now is the fact that you're a mother of 3. So you're a mother of 3.
Yes.
Tell me about how that is like. And first of all, tell us about your kids. How old are they? You know, what's their deal? And then let us know how you do this work mom of 3 balance thing, and any priorities that you have to set, you know, when creating goals for your business and what have you.
Yeah, so I have 3 kids. I have 2 girls and a boy. My oldest is just turned 5 days ago, and my other one just turned 3 2.5 weeks ago, and then I have a 17-month-old. So life gets pretty crazy. Pretty much the way that I balance my business life with my home life is I do a lot of my client like consultations or my bridal trials during my son's nap time. So before, he used to take like 3 to 4 hours, you know, a nap during the day, and so I would literally just book stuff in that time frame because that was the only free time I had. And then, yeah, evenings, you know, usually after I put the kids to bed is when I go back in and do a lot of, like, my bridal, like, contracts, you know, respond back to all my brides, you know, doing my, like, everyday client consultations or whatever, just reaching out to them as well. So it is pretty difficult. Don't get me wrong, like, there are days where I don't do anything. Like, after the kids are to bed, I'm like, I'm spent, I'm done. But, you know, I try to make an effort because I don't have that time during the day to talk to my brides or talk to my clients. And so, yeah, it's really nap times and after they go to bed is when I do stuff. And I make an effort to not talk to anybody on the phone because I usually have a screaming child in the background, which is so unprofessional. So I do a lot of everything. A lot of my communication is over email because, number one, I don't remember things. Like, I have too many things going on, so I don't like to do phone calls. I don't like to do text messages. I want everything in email so I know what's going on. And so then that way, like, if I need to get on the computer, like, while I have my kids around, that's easy to do. I don't have to worry about, like, somebody crying in the middle of a phone conversation. But yeah, it takes quite a bit of balance. And, you know, my husband is, you know, great support. So, like, now he is taking care of, you know, of the 3 kids while I'm doing this, you know, webinar. So
thanks, hubby.
Yeah, right.
He is awesome. He is. Oh my gosh. So did you want to ask the second part to that question, Jacqueline?
Well, I mean, we'll take whatever she'll give. So that's how that's how you balance kind of like work life and mommyhood. So moving past that a little bit, I want to talk about social media a little and how you utilize that, because I'm not a mother. Okay, I know Leigh is a mom. I'm not a mom. I'm the odd man out here tonight. But I can only imagine that having the ability to go on social media to help promote your business at any time of day or night, whenever you can have a free moment, I can only assume that that is a plus, right? That's not a con. That has to be a pro. So can you talk a little bit about how you utilize social media and how that has affected your business?
Yeah, definitely. So I do have like an Instagram account, and I did have my like business bridal Facebook page, but now ultimately I just kind of do everything on my personal page on Facebook. And what I like to do now is I'm realizing, like, you know, clients like to see your work, they like to see pictures. And I invested in a good camera, and pretty much any bride that I do, any client that I do, if they're okay with it, I will take a before and an after picture, or if it's just an after picture, I'll do eyes closed, eyes open, and I post all of my work. Like, I will post and post and post. And I also get professional pictures from any, you know, brides that I do, and I make sure to post that on Facebook as well. And yeah, I think and tagging everybody that works with me, I become friends with them and I tag them just so I can help spread the word about my business even more. And yeah, so I pretty much only have time, it seems like, for Facebook. I try to do Instagram, but I just I don't know, I run out of time. I don't know, I'm not really sure why. Instagram's a little different, so I really just kind of focus on Facebook now.
Well, Facebook is huge, so I'm sure you're doing very well with Facebook anyway.
Thanks. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, pretty much I just, you know, really make sure I take pictures. That was a big thing because I wasn't doing that, you know, even a year ago. I would forget to take pictures and stuff. So now I'm pretty on top of it, and I do take pictures, and I do post, and then I post them.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Leigh?
And then I would also like you, going from that, to add in even your everyday women that you do lessons with and meeting with them one-on-one and posting their before and after pictures too, because I know that you've grown a lot with that, and just even focusing on that everyday woman and not just bridal. It's kind of shifted over the last few months. So if you want to talk about what you've been doing with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's been great because I usually, you know, for the past 4 years or 3.5 years, I had just kind of been focusing on brides. And so it's kind of like I see a bride, I get the bride ready, and most of the time I don't really ever see them again unless I, you know, I'm doing like a baby shower, or they happen to be a bridesmaid in, you know, somebody else's wedding or something. I normally don't see them. So being able to do these like the everyday woman and doing consultations with them, it's just been great because I now get to, you know, customize makeup for them, and that has been really awesome. I do make like custom foundations and custom powders and stuff, and so I get to see these women. I get to really cater to their needs as far as makeup goes, and I get to see them more often than just that one time, or, you know, talk to them, you know, whether it's on Facebook or through text. And it's just really opened up my field as far as makeup and like beauty goes for me, and it's really opened up my business.
So because, I mean, I retail as well, and Leigh does as well. So when you say that you custom blend cosmetics and everything, you're talking about you custom blend bottles and jars of makeup for these women, right? Not just when you're doing their makeup for that day, but they leave you with.
They leave with a custom foundation, a custom powder.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so fun. And we do, Leigh and I both do the same thing as well. And I love it too, because I do work in bridal as well. I know Leigh also works in bridal. And what that does for our businesses is that then, like you implied, it turns a possible one-time client into a forever client, because they're always coming back to you for ordering, you know, reordering their custom blend, because you're the only one that they can get it from. So that's a very unique service that only you can provide. And even if other people might be providing that similar service in the area, you're the only one that does it your way, and you're the only one that has their formula. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So okay, well, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on my next question. So Leigh, if you have one up to bat, go ahead and ask it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, now that we're kind of talking about, you know, custom blend and retailing, what I want to know is, you know, because a lot of makeup artists out there don't have access to makeup that they can retail. So how has that changed your business? Like, either it can be like financially, or just building your makeup artistry, or, you know, what has retailing or having access to a professional line to offer to your clients, what has that done to change your business, Nicki?
It's been it's done great things for me. You're really able to build a relationship with your clients now, where before it was just like, oh, here, did your face, good to go, bye. Now I'm able to, recommend things that I think will work for them, and be able to just kind of build on that relationship so that, they will come back to me. And, I retail things that I personally love and I know that they're going to love. And so just being able to build that relationship with people is just, it's great. I mean, obviously, like, financially, that too is great. But being able to have that relationship and move and grow from there is pretty awesome.
So I love that you used the term growing relationship a bunch of times in that answer, because
I couldn't think of another word.
No. I'm not being facetious. I really do love it, because it's something that Leigh and I talk about all the time. We always talk about how you have to grow your relationship. You have to feed your relationship with your clients so that they keep coming back. You have to know about their family. You have to be interested in what they do for a living. Genuinely. You have to learn how to be genuinely interested in what they do, right? And that will, not only help you figure out how you can service them better, but at the end of the day, it'll help your bottom line as well, because not only will you have built a trust with them, but they're going to ask you about other products that are on the market. So you already talked about retailing custom blend. I want to ask what else you retail. Like, do you have access to retailing? And I actually know that you already do, but talk to me about what other things that you might retail other than custom blend.
Yeah, so I retail Motives Cosmetics products. I do have like a few key products that I love, and I do work with a lot of Indian skin tones. So there are, my hands down like go-to products that really work for our Indian skin. But yeah, I do retail a lot of like Motives Cosmetics. With the custom blend as well.
And what about like skincare or anything like that? Do you have access to that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do retail skincare as well. Usually when I do a consultation, I do discuss skincare and see, where the client is at with their skincare routine, and if they have a skincare routine. And usually a lot of times clients have, specific issues that they want to work on regarding their skin. And so yeah, it actually, skincare and I feel like skincare and cosmetics kind of goes hand in hand. You really do need to have a good foundation, meaning your skin, to work with, to have, good looking, to have your makeup looking good. So I do like discussing skincare with clients, and it really has opened up, just my my business so much more that I can, add other areas into it.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important to touch on too, especially, well, for the everyday woman, but when you have a bride and she's coming for a consultation, and you can actually like get her on a good skincare routine, it's going to make your life so much easier wedding day, because their skin is going to be like beautiful and looking good. I mean, you can only do so much with makeup, and honestly and I'm sure you guys have found this too, I feel like a lot of women are really confused on what's out there, and they are looking for solutions, and they're looking for like, what can I use? So what I'm finding is a lot of women they're just not doing anything, because they're like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to be using. So to be a solutionist and to like create the relationship, like we were saying, and be able to provide that because they trust your opinion. So to have a line behind you that you love, that has amazing ingredients, that is great for the skin, and you can help people with it, it's powerful in so many ways.
Yes.
Even not just trading time for money when you're behind the chair, but having, you know, that income beyond that is great as well. So I love that you go over skincare, because I think a lot of makeup artists maybe lack that, and maybe they're just like, I just don't have a skincare knowledge, or I don't have a line or products that, you know, I can recommend. So that's I applaud you for that. That's great. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I wanna touch on, since we're still on the subject of retailing. I'm a terrible salesperson, and I feel like a lot of makeup artists or other people in the beauty industry might feel the same way. And they may be interested, or at least, you know, curious about learning more about just the act of retailing in general, and what that may bring to their bottom line. But, you know, at the same time, they're like, well, I'm a terrible salesperson. I don't like being pushy. I'm not, you know, I don't want to do, you know, like one of those things, or, you know, anything like that. Nicki, do you have any advice for people that might be thinking that way, whether it's personal experience advice or, you know, otherwise?
Yeah, so I'm also not, like, I am not very good at selling stuff. I'm not very good at retail. I have worked with some, you know, makeup lines where, you know, it's like, you gotta sell. You gotta just sell, sell, sell all day long, sell, 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 you know, be on that floor and sell. And, you know, what I'm doing is so different from that. There is, you know, it's my business, so there is nobody pressuring me to sell anything. You know, it's me doing it for myself. And, you know, so for me, it's gotten easier. Like, yeah, you know, the first few months or so, it's like it's a learning process, but now for me, it's just like part of my consultation. Like, it, you know, like when I'm doing a trial for a bride, I will always offer custom blend. And, you know, and I do have a lot of brides that do, you know, will get the foundation and the powder. And so I say that, like, you know, many of my brides will get the foundation and the powder, so it's an option for you as well. And it just, you know, it slowly just gets built into your conversations. You know, it just ends up becoming so natural to bring up products. You know, if I don't just sit around and be like, okay, this product does this, you know, like if they ask me questions, if they're like, oh, what do I need to do to get rid of, you know, the darkness under my eyes, or what do I need to do as far as skincare, you know, I can then offer them stuff. So I ask a lot of questions to try to figure out what it is that they might need, and then I will give them recommendations. And that's kind of how it's gotten easier for me to talk about stuff, and it doesn't come off as trying to sell stuff or being like a salesperson. And yeah, I don't know. It has now just flowed so easily into, you know, into my trials and into my like client consultations.
Love that.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that, because they want, I mean, they're either going to get it from you or they're going to go somewhere else and get it. So if they like it and you're able to say to them, oh, well, this is something that you can get through me, they're just like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome. Because instead, you know, you'd be like, oh, we have to go to this store to get it, or this is this brand. And, you know, most makeup artists generally use a lot of different brands in their kit, and they're essentially just sending them to that store to get it. So, yeah, that's great. I'm like, that's really nice.
Oh, you're getting Leigh very emotional.
I know, right?
No, it's not bad. It's just, I don't know, once it starts watering, but don't mind me. So, you know, with that, and you kind of mentioned you had some experience with retailing in like more of a store setting. And so did you have certain quotas that you had to hit, and like, you know, that, and whereas now you said you're more independent by yourself, can you just like touch on what that means?
Yeah, so I never worked for any specific makeup company, but I did do like trunk shows, and I did work at, you know, different makeup shows and stuff, and I worked for various companies. And yeah, you know, it was just constant, like, if you weren't selling, you were supposed to be selling. Like you had to, like there was no break, you know, you had to be like out on the floor. You could, you know, like you had to talk to every person walking by and like stop them. And it's just not my style at all. It makes me very uncomfortable. And I wasn't good at it at all. Cause I mean, I did like, I did like a handful and then I never got a call back because I must have not been hitting the quota that they wanted. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very different from what I do now. And, you know, like I said, I get to put the pressure on myself. I don't have somebody else putting that pressure on me. And it definitely makes it easier than for you to try to retail than when you have somebody breathing down your neck trying to get you to retail.
Yeah. 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 That's certainly for sure. And so then, if I may paraphrase what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you, with your business and through retailing motives, it's really whatever you make of it. So if you want to make more money, then you're able to retail and make more money. If you want to take a step back, you could take a step back. However, I will also note that this is something that I don't think was mentioned yet. For those of us who are not skilled in selling and who are very uncomfortable selling, there are so many trainings that the company offers, that Motives Cosmetics corporate offers to all of the distributors and the business owners with the company. And those are both online and in person internationally. So there's always, you know, even if you're in a very rural area of the country, there's always a way for you to get trained, whether it be in person or online. So I do just want to say that because, you know, some of us don't have any sales experience at all. You know, I did because I worked at a Sephora and then at a Saks Fifth Avenue, and then I had freelanced for Laura Mercier for a while, but I was the worst. I was the worst. So these, you know, having that background probably did nothing for me because I was terrible. But it was these trainings. It was these trainings that helped me personally get to the point where I'm comfortable in my own skin when I'm talking about a product, because they taught me that it's not about selling, it's about finding solutions and being that well-rounded solution for your clients, so that you're an asset, not an annoyance. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel that we are with our businesses if we work them correctly. So let's see what my next question is. And Leigh, if you have another one on deck, go ahead. But I'm thinking.
You're thinking. Yeah. Just to piggyback on your training comment, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
I also feel like, you know, being in the beauty world for as long as I have, I've been obviously exposed to a lot of companies, and I've been approached by many things, and I've been to many classes just from all different manufacturers of hair products and makeup products and things like that. So the other thing I want to say about the training that the company offers is that they actually teach you how to be an entrepreneur and how to build an actual business, not just selling. We're not a multi-level company, so it's not, you know, structured in that way where you're pressured to have thousands of customers purchasing, you know, things and always trying to find like more customers. Like, it's more about the artist. It's more on teaching them how to just have more systems to create revenue, but supporting their client base, growing it gradually, but not out there like selling. So, you know, that kind of piggybacks what Nicki was saying, just about some of the manufacturers that she freelanced for. You know, there's nothing else like what I've experienced with this company, and I think that's important to let people know, because I think they're always trying to categorize what we have, and they're like, well, is it kind of like this, and is it kind of like that? No, we're more about the artists and the systems, and just mentoring them and teaching them how to be successful in the industry instead of focusing on just products in retailing, if that makes sense.
Totally. Absolutely.
And maybe you can say that in a different way too. You know, so we always do like to let people know that this is not a call about that particular, you know, how that business is. It's more about the makeup artist that we know. But, you know, if you are interested in finding out more about what it is and what we can do for you, definitely ask the person that invited you to this webinar or reach out to one of us. And I know we always say that at the end, but I thought it was important to bring up at this point.
Yeah,
no, powerful.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up, Leigh. And I put the I put everybody's social media information up on the screen, so definitely follow us, friend us on social media, ask us questions if you don't get a chance to ask them tonight. If you, like Leigh said, if you were referred to watch this video by somebody else, you know, follow up with them and ask them your questions. So, all right, so next question for Nicki, as it is for her life. So what is next for you, do you think? I want to know how do you set goals? Do you set goals? What do you think the importance of setting goals is? Talk to us about that.
Okay, so I have a couple of different goals. One in regards to my bridal business. I do want to at some point build a team underneath me with my bridal business, because I am getting to a point where I need help, or I have too many weddings every weekend. So that's one of my goals, and also just to, you know, keep building that business. And also, I mean, it's just about building on what I already have. I want to build my motives business as well, and just keep that going. You know, in the long run, like, I don't know how long I'll be able to, how long I'll be doing hair and makeup for brides. You know, I love it, and I'll do it for as long as I can. As long as I can stay on top of, you know, the trends and like what, you know, what's in and stuff for brides, and, you know, that sort of thing. But, you know, at some point I'm gonna have to switch gears, and so I really am looking, you know, to have my motives business be there for me when that's, you know, when that's over. And so I still want to stay like in the beauty arena, because I like what I have. I like that I can work from home, and I can work on the weekends, and then I have the week with my kids. So I really kind of have the best of both worlds. I can be there to raise my kids and also work, and, you know, because I definitely, you know, I need that and want that for myself. So yeah, it's about growing as an individual, growing as a businesswoman, and yeah, just keep it growing.
So I find that very interesting that you already have an exit strategy in place. And you know what, I have to say, Nicki, I think that's pretty brilliant, because a lot of us in the beauty industry, I mean, is just one industry that we don't think about that. Of course, there are a lot of other industries that they also don't think about that, and they have to, but ours is what we're talking about tonight. So you know, a lot of us in the beauty industry, we don't think about our exit strategy. And if we're freelance, then there's no 401k that we have a company, you know, contributing to. There's probably a lot of lack of retirement planning. And the fact that you are setting goals up so that you can have, you know, your motives business kind of take over the financial burden of just life, right? Eventually, you know, I don't know what your year plan is, if it's 5, 10, whatever years. But I have to commend you yet again that you have a strategy in place. And I challenge and I invite all of our viewers to kind of have that self-reflection moment. And what's your exit strategy? You know, if you're a freelance makeup artist, if you're a freelance hairstylist, even if you're not a freelance hairstylist, even if you're not a freelance makeup artist, even if you have a full-time gig that, you know, pays, you know, health benefits and takes care of all of that kind of stuff, what's your exit strategy? Like, what would you do if you broke your arm tomorrow? What would you do if you broke your ankle, you know, next month? What would you do if a family member, unfortunately, you know, got sick, you know, had fallen ill and you had to take care of them? How would you be able to take care of yourself during that time? Would you be able to take on jobs if you're a freelancer? If you work full-time somewhere, how long would they allow you to take off from work before they fire you, or before you're digging into your personal days instead of your vacation or sick days? You know, all of those things you have to think about. And so again, commending you, Nicki, for having any kind of exit strategy in place, even if it's just a thought right now. I think it's so important, and again, something that a lot of us in the beauty industry completely, you know, take for granted, because it could never happen to us. Nothing's ever going to happen to us. So, so yeah, Leigh, Leigh or Nicki, do you guys have anything to add to that?
Well, I'll have Nicki go first. Yeah, I've got a lot to
add. Nicki, anything to add?
No, I mean, it's just, you know, my eyes have been open the last couple of years, as far as what I need to do to make sure that I, you know, am financially independent, that I am, you know, that I can still spend that time with my family and stuff whilst bringing in income for, you know, for me and my family. And yeah, like, I know that my bridal business, you know, it's like when I'm like 60 years old, 70, am I gonna really want to be doing like bridal makeup for 20-year-olds? You know, like, I don't know where I'm gonna be, or, you know, but I have so many different avenues that I can go with motives, and you know, as I'm slowly building that, I'm going to keep my focus on my bridal business until I can then put all my focus, you know, where I get to a point where my motives business can take over everything, you know, in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm a prime example. Just because, I mean, I have been in the beauty industry for, I think, going on 23 years. I don't know, I guess it depends when you start adding it all up. But I loved being behind the chair so much that, you know, it's sort of like, be careful what you wish for, because, you know, when I first started out, my goal was like, I want to have like full clientele, and, you know, and before you know it, you're working 13-hour days and you don't have days off and you're booked out 4 months, you know? So it's like, you can't really just take off and do anything. And so your body, I don't think a lot of people, I mean, I think the people watching probably realize how much this takes a toll on your body. But it really does. Standing on your feet, you know, not eating, not drinking. And I know even Nicki, you know, with what you do, you have like your brides in the morning, and then a lot of the Indian brides actually change their makeup for the reception. And so she's going back and she's like redoing their makeup. I mean, and she's like running here, running there. So like, I know on your weekends you are absolutely slammed, and there's days where you're like, I haven't eaten yet, and it's like 8 o'clock at night. I mean, you know, that's how it gets. But like Jacqueline said, like most of us do not have like retirement or 401k or even like health benefits or, you know, life insurance or whatever the perks that you would get from, you know, other jobs or whatever you want to, however you want to label it. And I feel like a lot of people realize when it's too late and when they're physically having issues that they're like, great, now what am I going to do? Because when I stop like having that brush in my hand or the brush, you know, in their hair or whatever, that money is going to stop. So you can love something, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do it forever. And
Totally.
I hope that more industry professionals realize that to retire, you're going to need a few million in the bank to really live comfortably, and most people are not going to have that. So yeah, like I said, I got a lot to say about that. But yeah, I feel like it's smart that you ladies get that, and I think we need to keep on educating people that there are things out there that you can, help build alongside of that and be able to retire so you're not 60 behind the chair or whatever it is that you're doing. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
So it looks like we're getting a question. And this question is from Brittany. And Brittany wants to know, Nicki, how did you get the title makeup artist if you didn't go to cosmetology school? Because she didn't go either, and she's trying to figure out a way that she could advertise herself as a makeup artist. Now, that question is for you, Nicki, and you're welcome to answer it, but I also want to answer it too. So you can go first if you want.
So in Illinois, you don't need to have a you don't need to have a license to be a makeup artist. You don't need to have any sort of schooling to be a makeup artist. So with that being said, I did not go to cosmetology school. I didn't really take any formal training, and I was really able just to kind of dive in. And like I said earlier, a lot of the way that I started, I didn't really use social media back then. Like 5 years ago, I did it really kind of like the old school way. I had business cards and I mailed them out everywhere. I went to salons and I dropped them off. And yeah, just kind of like tried to get people to spread the word. I have 2 sisters and I have, my mom. And so they're also really great, advocates for me. And so if they ever knew of like a wedding going on, they're like, oh, I know somebody that does makeup. And, they spread the word for me too. And it really just takes like 1 or 2 brides. And then you kind of just get, then you're just kind of in. Because brides do talk to other people, and a lot of times, like when brides are getting married, they don't really know where to start or where to go, and so they will ask their friends who were married, who got married, and if you were that person that did their hair and their makeup, they're going to refer you to them, and that just kind of gets the ball rolling, and yeah, so yeah, hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I'm sure it was very helpful, and I would love to add on to that. So Brittany, it really depends on your state. So I'm not sure where you are, and I don't know the ins and outs of all the states. I personally did not go to cosmetology school either. But I have to tell you that there are 2 things to oh, you're from, okay, so Brittany's from Wisconsin, so maybe Leigh, you can speak a little bit more to that. But as far as in other states, what you have to be aware is that there's like a fine line that we discuss in the industry, right? And that is that just because you got your cosmetology license, that doesn't automatically mean that you're a makeup artist, right? So it could, absolutely, but it doesn't mean that you are. And so, and then on that same respect, just because you say you're a makeup artist doesn't mean that you are. so there, you can have 0 training and just be an actual natural like Nicki and be a makeup artist. She is a true artist. Or, and of course, Brittany, this is not going towards you because we don't know each other. I don't know your work, but I'm just saying in general terms. Or you could be somebody who just says, oh, makeup artistry sounds cool. Yeah, I'm a makeup artist now. That doesn't mean anything. So there are definitely fine lines, and education is so incredibly important, and going to workshops and learning about sanitation, and just upping your craft and honing your craft every year, every quarter, just doing something to better yourself is so important, and I know Nicki will agree with me with that. But as far as a formal education, and going to cosmetology school, that doesn't necessarily, of course, it depends on your state, but doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be a makeup artist just because you don't have a cosmetology license. But it looks like Brittany's from Wisconsin, Leigh, and I know you're also from Wisconsin, so if you have anything specific to say to that.
Yeah, so Wisconsin is a very strict state when it comes to licensing. So like Nicki said, in Illinois, you do not need a license. In Wisconsin, they are pretty strict about if you are charging for makeup application, if it's not for production, you have to be either a licensed cosmetologist or licensed esthetician. However, if you are representing a line for retail, you can promote that line and, you know, retail that line, but you cannot charge for makeup application unless you are licensed. So do people do it? Yes. But they, you know, they could potentially, you know, get in trouble for that. So going to school to be an esthetician is a lot shorter than being a cosmetologist. And I will piggyback on what Jacqueline said. In cosmetology school in the state of Wisconsin, they teach you a very, very little bit of makeup. They teach you just enough to say that they taught it to you. So you're going to get a lot of your training outside of that. Being close to Chicago, like where I live, I've gotten a lot of training in Chicago. I've learned from a lot of my colleagues. I'm continuing to learn. You know, having somebody teach you or having a mentor, I mean, there's so many resources to, you know, self-teach you. But yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't call yourself like maybe a makeup artist at the beginning if you're just starting out, but I would makeup consultant work, yeah, maybe, or when you actually work with motives, you become a certified beauty advisor. So that could be another thing that you could use for your label.
Yeah.
But, you know, and that's why I say that I'm a licensed cosmetologist because there's a lot of people that do hair here that, you know, aren't licensed. And they do it, but legally they shouldn't be. So I hope that answers it, but answers the question.
Yeah. No, I think it did. I think that, and especially since, you know, Brittany happens to be from your home state, I'm sure you definitely answered that question for her.
And and I mean, with regulation and licensing, I mean, you need to take continuing education. You need to constantly take classes on, you know, sanitization and disinfection and diseases, and I mean, so it's a little strict, and I mean, it's good that they have that just in where they can regulate things. So yeah, if you're a cosmetic acupuncturist, I mean, maybe check with your licensing and see if something falls under that. It could be.
That sounds pretty cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. I'm gonna have to follow up with Brittany. I don't know what that is. All right, cool. Well, it is 1 minute to go, so I think maybe we should start thanking our beautiful guest, Nicki.
Yes.
For being so amazing.
Oh,
and for spending your evening with us. And, you know, I hope that you thank your husband for taking care of your 3 kids for the last hour and a half that we stole you.
It was so peaceful.
You're like, no, let's not end. This is nice.
I know. I was like, let's keep going. This is so nice.
Thank you so much, Nicki. You know, we'd love to have you on again at some point. We'll probably be doing, well, we're going to be doing this for as long as we can, right, Leigh?
We're going to keep on going.
Yeah, we're going to keep on going, and I'm thinking, you know, we'll end up doing different topics down the line, so maybe we can interview you about Indian brides, Indian bridal beauty. What do you think about that?
I like that.
Okay, cool. So, guys, thank you so much for those who tuned in live, and for, you know, those of you who are tuning in and watching us on the replay. And as always, if you were referred to watch this video by somebody, definitely follow up with them if you have questions about anything we spoke about tonight, especially if it has to do with Motives Cosmetics or Market America, the parent company to Motives Cosmetics, or you can always ask any of the three of us. We're here for you to answer any of your questions. But until next time, thank you so much, Nicki again. Leigh, thank you.
Thank you, Nicki.
Mwah. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.